Man, listen, it's great to have you on the podcast. Appreciate you doing this. And you had quite the run in WWE, and we're going to get to that. But it all started for you, as many of our listeners know, in MMA. Do you ever see yourself returning to MMA?
I can see myself returning to MMA pretty soon. I mean, I've been training a lot. I mean, right before I came in here, I was working out, getting it in, and then I'm going to go teach jujitsu. And yeah, I mean, I've always been in fight shape. That's kind of my thing in the UFC. Like, they could call me on 2 weeks, 3 weeks notice and throw me in a top 10 fight, and I could probably win. So, yeah, I'm always down for the fight, but it just has to be the right fight for the right money, because right now with professional wrestling, with New Japan and everything else, the money's really good in professional wrestling. That's the one thing that lacked in mixed martial arts, and one of the main contributing factors of why I went over to professional wrestling.
Well, Matt, was it a tough transition for you to go from MMA to pro wrestling?
I would say, and I don't know if you could agree, the wrestling part, easy for me. Like, I can do the flips, the tricks, the moves, the slams. I can take a beating. That part, connecting with an audience, being like, even if you are charismatic, because I've seen guys be charismatic in the locker room or backstage, but to be charismatic in front of millions of people, thousands of people live, you have to learn how to do that. You have to learn how to connect to mass audience. And that was the hardest part. Also, in fighting, if you're the best, or just like in wrestling, if you're the best, you win, right? Well, in professional wrestling, even if you think you're the best, or a lot of people think you're the best, that's not the case. It's who books you and how they want it, and that's how pro wrestling is. But like I said, the money's right, and it's a lot of fun too. I just love pro wrestling. So
I had a blast too, Matt. It was the funnest time of my life, to be honest with you.
And Matt, listen, I don't know if you remember or not. We've gone back and watched Kurt in his early days too, when he was trying to connect with the audience, and he spent time in Memphis in those days. And it takes everybody time to figure it out. So
yeah. Yeah, and it's weird because when you start, people people that have been doing it for a while be like, just be yourself, but turn it up, or and you're like, I am myself, but you turn it up, and it's like, and then one day it clicks, and you're like, oh, I get it, like the life of the party. That's what I'm gonna be right now, or I'm going to be the downer of the party and make it miserable, or whatever it is, but it's turned up, it's accelerated. So it's like, but it's something you don't realize, even when it's selling, when you get punched in the face in the UFC, you're not going to go, oh, it's so down, right? But in pro do, because you're telling a story, you're showing that you're getting pain inflicted on you, and now you got to overcome it, or you don't, you just get beat up, whatever it is. But you're showcasing the actions, while, like, say, in fighting, you mask your movements and actions, just like wrestling, you feints and shots, and I don't want people to know my next move when I fight. In wrestling, I want you to know what I'm going to do, and maybe it gets turned around, but I'm projecting, and that was the hardest part for me.